Hello everyone, I am Ms. Heena K. The topic of my paper is Scenario-Based Learning from Firing Neurons to Wiring Knowledge. Scenario is a series of events that provides a situation where one has to run through all possible outcomes in one's head. Scenario-based learning is a way of teaching problem-based context by exposing the learner to a given situation outlined in a scenario. Scenario-based learning usually involves interactive stories that are realistic and completes with the goal of taking the learner through situations in which the character's challenges are the learner's challenges. Need of the study. Subject knowledge plays a very important role in teaching learning process, but providing only subject knowledge to the learners is insufficient to make them a contributory citizen of a developing world. There is a need to enhance their cognitive skills by promoting critical and creative thinking along with subject knowledge. Scenario-based learning is one of the methods where subject knowledge is merged with the real-world situation. Life's approach towards learning is altogether different. It brings difficulties, struggles, experiences, and innumerable tests to teach us the most important lessons. Life won't make one sit in the classroom and provide learning material to equip an individual to understand the test of life. It's always a reverse process. Scenario based learning follows the same principle. That's why it looks more realistic in a sense and is the most effective. Theoretical foundation. There are millions of neurons in the brain, but only a small fraction of them are involved in learning process. Each and every time we learn something new, our brain forms new connections with networks and makes existing neural pathways stronger or weaker. The expression neurons that fire together, wire together refers to the process by which the brain constructs neural networks. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's continuous capacity to generate new neural networks in response to stimuli. Higher the stimulus, larger the effect on learning. Traditional method of teaching or rote memorization creates less stimuli, which produces isolated neural networks. Such shallow memories only allow learners to give back what was taught, mirroring the way it was taught. Scenario-based learning creates more stimuli by providing opportunities to work towards desirable goals at their individualized levels. Aim of the study? To study the impact of scenario-based learning approach on students' achievement in English. Sample of the study. The sample for present study comprised of 80 students from standard 5th and 6th of an English medium SSC school from suburban Mumbai. Both the control group and experimental group consisted of 40 students. The sample was selected through convenient sampling technique. Tool for the study. After teaching for a period of 2 weeks, the researchers administered a self-constructed achievement test to both the groups. Methodology. The present study was experimental in nature. In the present study, the sample was divided into two groups, where Group A was control group, Group B was the experimental group. The researchers gave treatment to the experimental group, that is, Group B. They were taught the same English content as Group A, but through the scenario-based learning. Analysis of data. The researchers analyzed the data using static group comparison design. Data was analyzed by the researchers using t-test to find the difference between the post-test mean scores of the experimental and control groups. Testing of hypothesis. The first null hypothesis states that there is no significant difference in the English achievement scores of control group and experimental group. The obtained value of t-ratio for English achievement scores of control group and experimental group is 7.13, which is more than the table value 2.639. Thus, t-ratio is significant. Hence, the null hypothesis is rejected. We can conclude from this data that there is significant difference in English achievement scores of control group and experimental group. The second null hypothesis states that there is no significant difference in the English achievement scores of male students of control group and experimental group. The obtained value of t-ratio for English achievement scores of male students of control and experimental group is 4.81, which is more than the table value 2.704. Thus, the null hypothesis is rejected. The third null hypothesis states that there is no significant difference in the English achievement scores of female students of control group and experimental group. The t-ratio for English achievement scores of female students of control and experimental group is 5.37, which is more than the table value 2.704. Thus, the null hypothesis is rejected. So we can conclude from the data that there is a difference in the English achievement scores of female students. Rise of new paradigm. The coronavirus pandemic has resulted in the closure of schools across the nation. Education has changed with the rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is executed remotely and on digital platforms. In a physical classroom, interaction between teachers and students is more dynamic. Teachers can stimulate response from students more easily. But with online classes, teachers need to find more creative ways to make the conversation interesting. Online learning, which came as a panacea for pandemic, is increasingly seen as a new paradigm in education. When scenario-based learning is taken in the context of online or e-learning, it can be described as scenario-based e-learning. Scenario-based learning essentially immerses the learners in real-world or situational stimulation or learning experiences that allows them to collect skills or information that they will recall for future use. As rightly said by René Descartes, cogito ergo sum, that is, I think, therefore I am. For him, the sole certainty lay in human reason or thinking. Today, education has to follow the philosophy of rationalism, where we need to encourage our students to think, thereby making doubt and critical evaluation of the learning possible. Thus, through scenario-based learning, education must be garnered towards the development of critical rationality. Thank you.